ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, July 29th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We do that every day at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Coming up in the next few minutes, we're going to talk to Tyler Kennett from HD Media. Covers the Thundering Herd for the Herald-Dispatch. We'll get his thoughts on the upcoming season. Of course, tomorrow we've got a press conference to attend. Thundering Herd officially announcing yesterday its new director of athletics, Gerald Harrison. So we'll be at the presser tomorrow. Unfortunately for us, we won't have a show tomorrow because we got Pirates baseball. The Pirates in action on the road against the Giants. They've got another one tonight. We go on the air at 9:20. It's going to be a late one, and then on Wednesday they will go on the air at 3:20. So that's going to knock us off the air. If we can get on the air, we will, but unfortunately, you know how these games go. So that's coming up tomorrow, but we're going to be there. Obviously, excited to get to meet the new athletic director, and then as soon as he takes the job, we'll hopefully have a lot more time with him. So what are your early thoughts? I haven't heard a negative thing about him just yet. Yeah, and I'm not fishing for a negative comment, but I haven't heard a single thing negative about him at this moment. I mean, even Chris Lowe from ESPN tweeted something out. Chris earlier said, I've known Gerald since he was 18. He's everything you want in a leader. Smart, forward-thinking, kind, informed, creative, honest, personable, resilient, scratch golfer. So those are some big words right there. Kind, informed, very, very key words there. Creative, honest, personable, resilient. I'm not worried about his golf game. That is not high priority for me on this show. But everything else, very important. So that's some outside, unsolicited opinion on the new athletic director. So that leaves me optimistic. And again, if you were with me yesterday, I had a couple of people just tell me, unsolicited as well, hey, Paul, you're going to like him. Okay. I'll take your word for it. And so I will hopefully continue to like the new athletic director. So we'll find out more about him tomorrow. And, of course, we got football coming up sooner than you think. Absolutely sooner than you think. August 30th is just around the corner. August is just around the corner. So we'll get you set for football as well. But I do want to get the text line going because that's going to be pretty much open throughout the show. And you can do that at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be on today's edition of The Drive right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Well, all good things have got to come to an end. The Tri-State Coldcats playing at Kingsport tonight at 7 in the start of the final series of the season. So we say farewell to the Tri-State Coldcats. The Pirates in action tonight got the win over the Giants yesterday, 6-5. Second game of that series, as we mentioned, coming up tonight. 9:20, our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. The Dodgers got the best of the Reds 5-2 yesterday. Cincinnati's 4-game win streak is gone. Game 2 of that series coming up tonight, 7:10 at Great American Ballpark. And the Rockies got the better of the Guardians, 8-6. Game 2, that series coming up tonight, 6:40 in Cleveland. Something that we didn't get a chance really to get into yesterday, we didn't get the news until later. Baseball Hall of Famer Ryan Sandberg has passed away at the age of 65. Got to go back a ways if you're a baseball fan from way back when. He was the 1984 National League Most Valuable Player, racked up 9 Golden Gloves, hit 277 home runs, and he was a big reason why the Chicago Cubs were successful in the mid and late 1980s. So a big name in sports and in baseball, passing away on Monday at age 65. Basketball. I know we're weeks and weeks away from the start of college basketball, but Best Virginia continues, beating Shell Shock 74-61, and the semis are now again in Charleston. The way this TBT is set up, you could have the potential to play for the championship on your home court. It's just a new way to kind of generate interest, and so far, Charleston has been a great location for the TBT. Best Virginia has become a staple in the TBT. So, semifinals, Best Virginia in action Thursday at the Charleston Civic Center Coliseum. I knew this was a good team. I didn't know if this team could get this far, but it helps if you're playing at home. And technically, let's be honest, even when Heard That was in Charleston, Charleston is Best Virginia country. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no way to make that even 50-50, when it comes to Marshall versus WVU. We've seen the outcome many a time in Charleston. The crowds, not so much 50-50. 60-40 maybe, some years 70-30. And so Best Virginia, a lot of people are kind of wrapping their arms around them as, let's be honest, we don't have basketball for several more weeks, but we do have Best Virginia. Again, Heard That, I would have been all in, ready to go for them if they could have gotten this far, but Best Virginia continues in the TBT. At this point, how are you feeling about them? Is it's not Heard That, so let's move on, Paul, or it's, hey, let's check that out. Let's watch Best Virginia. I mean, Jared West is on the team, and I'm happy for Jared West. And that's the one thing about this TBT. It's kind of weird. You don't necessarily have to be an alum of the alumni team school. Jared West playing for his father on that team. And a guy like him, I really enjoyed his time here at Marshall University, and he always will be a Marshall player for me. But the fact that he gets to play with his father coaching that team, I mean, that's a good story right there. That's one that we should hone in on a little bit more. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the opportunity that he gets to be in that atmosphere. And, of course, I'm sure a lot of people are as well. As Jared, really one of those players that he was a favorite. I really enjoyed watching him play and develop. And he was that guy that I would look at and go, wow, I wish he would score more. And then I really got to learn about him and his game. I'm like, man, he's just going to be dogging that guy all game long. You better pack a lunch because West is going to guard the assignment for the entire game, and that guy is not going to get a break. So, heck of a defensive player. So he definitely fits in with that culture of Best Virginia. And again, that's kind of the culture he grew up with his father. We're going to turn our attention to Marshall. We are going to talk to the beat writer, covers the Thundering Herd for HD Media, the Herald Dispatch. Tyler Kennett joins us on the other side of the break. And then we'll get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's the Hot Deals Cool Ride Sales Event at your hometown Chevrolet in Waverly. Right now, save big on a fresh lineup of Chevys, from fuel-saving sedans to dependable trucks and family-ready SUVs, as well as an exceptional selection of pre-owned vehicles. Looking to trade in? We're paying more than ever for quality vehicles. Need financing? We've got options that work for you. Don't miss it. Hot Deals Cool Rides happening now at your hometown Chevrolet, off Route 23 in Waverly, or at yourhometowንchevy.com.
Hi, I'm Nori, and over the years, my mother and I have opened our homes to those who need it most, and it's been so rewarding. I bet you didn't know that some adults who have unfortunately been mistreated need a place to call home in West Virginia. It happens more than you know. They may have some physical or mental limitations, and they need your help. Everyone deserves a place to call their own. I can tell you from my experience, it's worth it.
If you have an open heart and want to open your home, adult family care may be the right fit for you. Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget, Talk Line coming back tomorrow, 10:06, right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We'll get that back open in just a moment, but I want to turn our attention now to the next few weeks. We got Marshall football fast approaching. We've got a new athletic director that'll be introduced to the public tomorrow. And the guy that you're going to be reading everything from now until probably the end of basketball season, everything that you can possibly learn about Marshall athletics is going to be written by this man. Tyler Kennett, our friend, joining us from HD Media, covers the Thundering Herd for the Herald-Dispatch. Did I hype you up enough, Tyler, or could I have done better?
I hope they're reading year round. Paul, I'm kidding, but
no, you're right. You're right. Hopefully they are reading. Because you're going to have stories after the fact. Absolutely.
Oh, sure.
I mean, give them a break though. Yeah, they can take like a week off.
Maybe once football season's over, I'll get a break in December when I can go out and drive around in the snow or something and do something while everything's closed down for a little bit.
Understand? Yeah, fairly. Once April rolls around, they'll get a break just for maybe you'll get a break, and then when you come back, they can pick up. That's what it is. That's what needs to happen.
Sure. Yeah.
How have you been? It's been a good while since we've got a chance to talk. I haven't. Congratulations to your wife. She's getting ready to take her law exams. Right? She's studying to be a lawyer.
Oh yeah, she's doing a great job. She's in Charleston right now, taking the bar. Today was the first day. Tomorrow is the last day. So it's a 2-day thing. And that's been a very tough time for her in terms of studying for it. So I couldn't be more proud of her. I tell everybody she's going to do great. She's doing great, I'm sure, as well. But, I'll probably call her after I get off the phone with you. Other than that, just got back from New Orleans, drove down for media days, and getting into the swing of it now, kind of writing something every day. And tomorrow with athletic director press conference, and then Friday with coach ahead of camp and all of that good stuff. I mean, we're really getting into the time. I just left Ironton, was talking to over there with the prep stuff as well. So we're doing some high school coverage, doing all kinds of stuff.
So you're pretty busy right now. Of course, we're getting into the thick of things. And I don't want to rub this in, but the only week I could take off is next week, so I'm doing it.
Yeah.
August. Only time I can take off is August. Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy, but then I'm right after it for the next, I don't know, until April, just like you.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
So you've been covering it as well as everyone else as far as the search for a new athletic director. Let's start there, and then we'll get into your time at Sunbelt Media Days. the word has been pretty good so far. Marshall University making the decision official that Gerald Harrison, the athletic director, Austin Peay, will be the new director of athletics at Marshall University. He will wrap up his duties at Austin Peay on August 15th, and then he'll be taking over soon after that. So far, social media, people have been saying nice things about him. I've had people candidly tell me, hey, you're going to like the guy. What's your early impression from what you've heard and what you've seen about the new athletic director?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to be excited for. I think that when you look at his resume, that's been the bulk of what I've written about. Obviously, we'll get a chance to talk to him tomorrow, but he's got a little bit of everything. The ASUN conference, which is what Austin Peay was in heading into 2026. They'll join the United Athletic Conference. There's something to be said there about the way that even at that level, the conference realignment still exists. So he has some experience with that. Fundraising-wise, he secured the biggest donation the program and school had ever gotten, $13 million around there. So that was another big selling point I think you could make, that he has experience with fundraising and capital projects as well. I thought a cool wrinkle was with the collaboration with the Nashville Predators and the construction of their arena for basketball and all of that stuff. I think anytime that you're able to say that, you were part of a deal or some sort of collaboration with anything to that level is phenomenal, and a big takeaway for me was how often that you see, I think it's kind of what would be the case at any place or any business, to where it's like, imagine you lose the best guy on your group, you know what I mean? If you go in to work and your most efficient or productive guy is gone, you got to wish them well, but you're also like, man, this stings. And I think that's been maybe not as positive for Austin Peay, but for Marshall, it's a great thing to think about, is that you're not hearing anyone say anything bad of wishing oh, thank goodness this guy's gone. It's always, man, this guy's going to do great. He's going to do really well. They've been successful athletically. They have had a slew of championships. He's had a part in a bunch of coach searches. A lot of those coaches have been incredibly successful. And then even academically, holding a 3.0 GPA across all of your programs for 16 semesters, I mean, you're basically saying that someone's going through their full degree and they're doing well, and they are set up for success within the program. So even little things like that, I know some people don't care about that, but I think I really do, because it shows that there's more of a focus than just putting guys on the field or girls on the field that can go and do something. Instead, it's more about having that connection and creating that relationship with those individuals to where they're able to succeed no matter what their goals are in terms of their career.
And to your point, and again, this is all just people feeling like they can say things to me, but I've gotten a lot of that, hey, thank God that guy's gone. You might get that here or there from people, and this has not only been people that have just come up to me and know who I am. It's been our listeners as well. But to a person, no one has said, well, I wish they would have hired someone else. Everything has been positive about Gerald Harrison. And to your point, the people at Austin Peay hate the fact that he's leaving, but they don't hate him for leaving. They're like, we saw that coming. That guy was destined to get to a bigger place, and here he is.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And it's good. It's good for their community to kind of uplift him and be proud of what he's done, because at the end of the day, you look back on it 10, 20 years from now, that's where he started, and that's where he built the foundation of what he does, presuming success or anything else. So, I'm only hearing good things. So that's always good.
My guest is Tyler Kennett. He covers Marshall athletics for HD Media, the Herald-Dispatch. And so we'll be tomorrow together at the presser to find out more about Marshall's new director of athletics. But you had an opportunity to head down to New Orleans, where you were at Sunbelt Media Days both days. So you had some interesting conversations, I'm sure. We're going to be reading more about those as the weeks progress in the newspaper, online as well. But what was your first takeaway from when you were at the West Day session and just Coach Huff talking about why he chose Southern Miss? And I'm sure there were some other things that came out as well that maybe piqued your ear when you heard them.
Yeah, I didn't talk to him one-on-one or really anyone from the West. The only one-on-one interviews I did were through Marshall, just because that was the most important. Anything else I felt like I could get from the podium. And people ask, because it is a good question, I think, of why. I think that was asked to everyone who's coming in for a first year, whether it be Coach Gibson and Coach Loggins at App State. Everybody was kind of curious, what drew you to this place. And for him, I think it was, in his words, not necessarily mine, the importance of football down there to him is greater, along with some other, thoughts about how their facilities are good and they're able to kind of reinstate the plans and the progress that they had at Marshall there. He didn't necessarily say anything down-putting to Marshall in that. It was more so just like, owning the fact that Southern Miss was not the greatest team last season and trying to build and do something there as well, just in that front. I think that from the West and really from all of it, what I saw the most or heard the most was talk about like how important that retaining talent has become in football nowadays, especially at the collegiate level. You want to make sure that you're not only recruiting people, but you're recruiting guys who want to stick around. I think that the most coaches that were, kind of bullish on what they're going to be able to do and the ones that think that it's going to be positive in terms of their outlook on the year. Obviously, everybody's positive. That's the whole point of media days. You get on there and you talk about how good you are. But it was a thing of, if anybody was saying, like, we bring back a lot of talent, we bring back a lot of people, there was not as much question. It was more of like, how do you improve on what you've already built? And I think that that's become a big talking point among coaches. It seems it felt like I was asking every coach how important it is to retain guys now. I think that Georgia Southern on the east side, when I was asking, do you think that that's become the most important part of your job now is to retain guys? And I think that he agrees that that's now the most important thing. So that was an interesting thing I'll probably write about broadly in terms of the Sun Belt. But that was kind of like the catch-all, like everybody, even especially Marshall, was talking about how important it is to get guys in, because everybody's doing that now, and to also keep those now. Like that's become like a heightened layer of your recruitment.
Tyler Kennett's with us. HD Media covers the Thundering Herd. You can read his work in the Herald-Dispatch. The one thing that I got a chuckle out of on the West Day was Butch Jones, and I like Butch. He's one of my favorite West Division coaches, and he basically said, I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but he basically said that Marshall's now at Southern Miss, because he was talking about where the teams were ranked, and he's like, hey, that's Marshall down there now. What were your thoughts on Butch when he was talking about that? And of course, there's a history between Coach Jones and Coach Huff, so they're friends, so he's going to always have something kind to say about Coach Huff no matter where they're at.
Oh, definitely. I think that he jumped in on a couple of Coach Huff's radio interviews as he was doing them as well. So they've got a little bit of back and forth there. It's always kind of funny to watch. It seems like every time since I've had the job that you talk with him that he ends up bringing him up. So there's just something to it there. I don't know. I think that he was kind of just in the literal sense saying I think that the quote that he gave was that he thinks that Southern Miss is the reigning champion because they have Coach Huff there. And even to Coach Huff's credit, someone asked, you're not the champion, you're this. And then he kind of literally was just like, I am the champion, so there's that aspect to it on any front of it. I don't really know, not that I didn't care, but more so just I thought it was funny. It was it's just like a charismatic thing that he brought out. I don't think it hurt anybody's feelings to hear that, because it's kind of been what everyone is saying. I do think, though, that another thing was that there were so many coaches who were just like, how do you assess the conference, and not necessarily wanting to do away with the poll, but would likely be in favor of it because, teams get voted in, like Marshall received the first place vote. Other teams, I think one coach said that he gave his own team the first place vote, because the only thing that you really know is your own team right now. Just about every team was saying, we've got dozens of new players. We've got this many. I think Georgia State even has more than Marshall. They're around 80. So it's so hard to predict anything about what can happen. That's how I feel about it too, personally, is that I don't vote in any polls. At least I haven't asked to, but even if I did, I wouldn't even know how to start, because pretty much every team, there's a handful that are returning a lot of players, and the rest are kind of in that phase of we got to figure it out. And I think that's what stuck out from Marshall's point of view is Coach Gibson's one of those guys who will say, and you hear it a lot, like being where your feet are and trying to navigate where you're at and focus on yourself and your own growth. Because if you don't, then you're going to be in the dust, because all you can really control right now, especially, I hate the saying so much of like this new era of college football. Like, I think it's such a overused statement, but it's kind of true. You have to navigate the concept that every team is new every year, to where you can't really predict or envision what anything is going to be like other than what you're able to do on your own turf.
Tyler Kennett's with us, covering the Thundering Herd for HD Media. His work appears in the Herald-Dispatch and across HD Media properties. So the East Day, you started with Coach Gibson, obviously. And I think a lot of Herd fans liked what they heard. He was no nonsense, but he was personable as well. Mm-hmm. This was not his first time in front of a microphone and a podium. You didn't get that feeling, even though this is his first go-around as the head coach. What were your takeaways as you were interacting with him a little bit more than maybe some of the other members of the media, including those of us that were remote?
I think that I liked how transparent he was with everything. Credit to Ben Westfall for asking about quarterbacks. And I mean, unless they brought the quarterback there, he was the only coach to just outright say, like, right now, this is who it would be. Not to say that, Carlos is going to be the guy out of the gate, but to just be open with what is on the table and say, like, hey, here's what we've got and here's what we're working with, and we're going to do what we can and we're going to do this. I thought that was my favorite thing, just from the perspective of doing my job. He makes it easy. I enjoyed talking to him, like, outside of things as well. I mean, he's an extremely personable guy, and I think that's one of the biggest draws. Even today, I was at Ironton talking about previewing the season. I just asked, what's the difference like with Coach Gibson in terms of like the interaction you have at the high school level of recruitment and whatnot. And he was just talking about how much of an effort that he's making into, looking at guys and doing those things and kind of checking all the boxes that you want to see. And I think that was a big thing. And just from a media perspective, like sitting at lunch, a lot of folks were very high praise in terms of the way that he navigated his time and how he answered things, to where it was like, it wasn't like this thing of like hoorah every single question. Like he navigated it in a way of like confidence in the team and its abilities and the way that they're going to go about things and the way that he's going to build the team and the culture of it. But he's not setting the bar in a way that's unrealistic. You could see everything that he's saying coming to fruition. And I think that kind of speaks to his character, which I thought was well on display. We're
speaking with Tyler Kennett. He is the beat writer covering the Thundering Herd for HD Media and the Herald-Dispatch. One of, I'm sure, the big topics at Sunbelt Media Days was the addition of Louisiana Tech. And, of course, Texas State is leaving for the Pac-12, and so Louisiana Tech will be coming in from Conference USA. I don't know what the temperature in the room was about their inclusion or being brought in. Outside of that room, I'm sure there are a lot of questions why Louisiana Tech, maybe more so from Marshall fans or at least the east side of things. Not a big fan of that decision. What was the temperature in the room? What were people saying about Louisiana Tech? Commissioner obviously is on board with it, but what did you gather?
Yeah, I think it was more of a question on the West Day than the East. Not very many people asked about the East coach's perspective, because really it's kind of far out of the way, and some of these teams won't play Louisiana Tech in football, presuming divisions remain for a few years, so it's like there's that perspective of it as well. I think for the West, most were in favor. The ones that were asked, obviously the Louisiana schools were happy with the inclusion, the renewal of the rivalries, and in that sense, I think that Commissioner Gill did well with kind of saying that, they started, the way that he described it was started broad and cast, his words were like casting a wide net of options of teams they could bring in, and that as time grew in the search, that it became more, focused in on Louisiana Tech. And in his words, it was an obvious decision, and I don't care. At the end of the day, I've got to do it. I don't care who they bring in. It is what it is from my perspective. But I do think that if you're a fan of some of those teams in the West, it does make sense, because, you're bringing in the regional aspect of it. You're bringing in a team that there's some familiarity with their past time in the Sun Belt and all of that stuff. I know that like a lot of the fans out east, maybe even some at Marshall, are kind of don't really love it. But to me, it made sense because, I mean, you figure you lose a team in the West, you replace it with a team that could be in that West division so you don't get lopsided and have to get rid of divisions. You bring in a team with local appeal to some of your members, and you reignite some rivalries that will be every year. I mean, those things are valuable. And there is some success, especially in baseball, that they have had that you can look to as like additions broadly that will improve the conference. I don't necessarily think that there was anyone like vocally being like, man, I wish that they hadn't done this. If anything, you know, like off of the mic type of conversations, like, oh, it seems cool, you know, and it is what it is. And that's the vibe I got, at least. There wasn't anybody necessarily walking around with a sign being like, we should get rid of Louisiana Tech or anything. I do think that one thing that was worth noting, though, was Commissioner was kind of saying that if their joining would to be delayed a little bit longer, that divisions would probably have to go, which is unfortunate because part of what I really like about the Sun Belt is that it's, you know, like the only conference left that really has that aspect to its conference schedule and how valuable that can be. So just from a hope perspective, and as a fan of football, I hope that decision and the joining comes to pass as soon as it can, so that those, you know, traditions can stay intact for the conference. Because I think it's valuable for them.
I'm saying if Georgia State is not on the Marshall schedule, I'd be okay with that. Of all the East teams, I'll pick them, and I like them. I like those folks down there. That was a hard decision for me to make, Tyler, to pick one East Division team that I could live without for a year, and I picked Georgia State because I can't give up Georgia Southern. I can't give up Appalachian State. I can't give up Coastal Carolina or Old Dominion or JMU. I mean, where do you choose? You don't.
Yeah, plus, I mean, you have Georgia State and Georgia Southern in the same division, and that's great for the regional rivalry, which is a big focus that the Sun Belt has placed on. And that's, you know, to your point, you know, those other schools that you're mentioning are rivals of Marshall because the proximity is close enough to where a reasonable fan could drive to any of those games and enjoy it and have that experience of being like, oh, I don't have to go from here to Arizona to watch a game or something like that, you know? So like that's part of it too, to where it's like, I think that the biggest importance was not necessarily only maintaining the divisions and only doing that thing, but surely it was part of it, right? Because it would be tough to consider, you know, we're going to add a team into the East Division and then cut up likely the two West or, you know, like West adjacent schools and the Georgia schools, because no one else really makes a whole lot of sense in terms of how you would go about it. I don't know. I think it's good for Marshall just because you maintain the rivalries that you started to build, because Marshall's obviously not been in the conference for generations. You know what I mean? So you're starting to build that up, and you want to maintain that structure to where you can say like, oh, that these are our rivals, and Marshall plays them every single season, and you look forward to it. You know.
Tyler Kennett's with us. HD Media covering the Thundering Herd. You can read more about it in the Herald Dispatch. Of course, he'll be there as well alongside of me and every other member of the Marshall Media Corps as we welcome a new athletic director tomorrow. And then, as you alluded to, we got football to start getting ready for starting on Friday. What are you going to do with your only time to breathe on Thursday? Well, actually, it's over. You have no more time. You're done.
I guess not. I don't know. I guess that's a good question. I think that the evenings on the days where I write early and go home will be I don't know what I'll do. Maybe watch a new show or something. So I don't have a whole lot of time. I never have. That's why I do it. It keeps me busy.
Okay, fair enough. And you know, the problem the problem I have is I got to find someone to fill in for me next week. So I have Ben Anderson. The problem you have is who's going to fill in for you. I mean,
no, Tim Stevens could do a great job.
No, don't build him up. Don't stop that.
He would do great.
I mean, don't. I mean, you know, Mr. Sports Writer of the Year 2023. Don't build him up anymore. I mean, come on, the guy covered.
I've got people to lean on.
Yeah, the guy covered Marshall football when I was a youngster and you probably weren't even born yet. Don't build him up anymore.
No, I was not alive yet. I throw that in there. Hopefully, that'll make you feel good.
Tyler Kennett's with us. Man, it's good talking to you again. I haven't done that in a while, and we'll get you back on real soon. And, of course, I'll see you tomorrow, and we're all excited for the naming of the new athletic director officially presented to the fans. And, you know, the great thing for you is you've got content. For me, I don't have a show tomorrow. I got baseball interrupting the show tomorrow. So I'm just going for fun at this point.
You got to do what you got to do. I mean, you got it for this is a good time for me because, like you said, with the media days, like I go down there and I've got a month to work on, so I've got all kinds of stuff to do. So.
See, that's what I envy you because you can bank all this stuff for like a month. For me, yeah, I play the actualities, and then okay, what do I do tomorrow?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, exactly, different mediums.
I used to do TV, and now I do writing for that reason because TV was like you got to do it now or you don't get to do it, and then this is so much. Not easier, I wouldn't say. I do more work, but it's more doable, I think, for sure.
You
so,
can
you can tell everything.
You can sit back and you can plan and you can craft stories, and you do a fantastic job. So I don't want anyone to think that that you don't do a fantastic job. You do, and looking forward to it. So tomorrow we'll see you there, and of course. After that, I'll see you on Friday. So we're going to have a busy week, but thanks for doing it, man. Again, and again, congratulations to your wife. You talk about her a lot, and you're really proud of her. So,
absolutely.
Now, before I let you go, does she issue billable hours to you every time you have a law question when it comes to sports?
No, but I do make her do that. Anytime that there's something legal in the docket, I'm pulling her to ask about it, which I'm sure she really loves and appreciates it. So
comes in handy.
She is the mind behind it all. So
she's the CEO of Kennett Enterprises, right?
Absolutely.
Congratulations to her, man. Good talking to you. We'll do it again soon, and I will see you tomorrow, man.
Oh yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
That's Tyler Kennett, everyone. He's covering the Thundering Herd for HD Media and the Herald-Dispatch. Does a fantastic job. Looking forward to seeing him tomorrow and reading his work in the Herald-Dispatch. We will get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Open the door to big savings on beautiful Mastercraft doors at Menards. Mastercraft steel entry doors add a stylish appearance, and they're a great investment for your home. Choose from our huge in-stock selection or design your door your way using our free step-by-step design program. Visit us today in store or on Menards.com to shop all Mastercraft doors. Plus, check out the weekly flyer for all our great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West 9th Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition, presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, it's City Heat on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, SIP Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Join us August 8th for the 9th Street Live debut of the Kind Thieves. Mark your calendar for August 15th for the Thundering Herd Rally, featuring Marshall teams Marco, the Marching Thunder, and Madhouse. 9th Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinals Chevrolet. Every Friday night through Labor Day, 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kindred Communications. This Friday, it's City Heat at Mount West 9th Street Live.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. If you just joined us later on, you got to go back to the podcast and pick up the interview I had with Tyler Kennett from HD Media talking about Marshall Sunbelt Media Days. New athletic director that'll be announced officially tomorrow, Gerald Harrison. We got the invite to show up at 11 a.m. for the presser, so we're looking forward to that. So if you missed that interview, head back to the podcast, catch it later, go over to our website, wrvc.com, or you can just do a quick search on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get fine podcast. We were talking a little bit earlier about the TBT, Best Virginia getting the win over Shell Shock 74-61, and will be in the semifinals on Thursday. That game going to be at the Charleston Coliseum. Texter says, Paul, I'm with you. Excited for Jared West. Don't care about Best Virginia. Appreciate the text. Yeah, again, he's with his dad. I mean, that's got to be fun for him. He's with his dad. Dad's coaching Best Virginia. He's a former Marshall player on Best Virginia. It's okay. We'll take it. We'll be happy for Jared West. He was a great player for Marshall University. He was always a fun interview, and I enjoyed watching him, especially on defense. He was a player that once he got going, he could go after you. He basically packed a lunch pail because he knew it was going to be an all-day job. The other guy, unfortunately, usually didn't. Text again, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, I'm excited about the new athletic director being hired. Go Herd. All right. Appreciate that text. Pretty positive there. Again, I haven't heard a single thing said negative, and I'm not looking for things negative about the new athletic director. I just haven't heard a single thing negative. Not a single word. Like, oh, yeah, glad to see this guy go. When we were talking to Tyler earlier, that was a great point. No one has come out and said, oh, yeah, glad this guy's leaving. Instead, it's like, we hate to lose the guy. Man, I mean, hey, good luck. I mean, the guy was great. We hate losing him. And that's a testament to him and his time at Austin Peay. So I hope that his time at Marshall University, forever, how long that's going to be, is the same feeling. If he ever would leave Marshall, I hope that's the kind of attitude we have. That means he's done a great job as the director of athletics at Marshall University. We got to take another break. We went a little long in our last segment. That's okay. It was good to catch up with Tyler Kennett from HD Media. Quick break, come back, your text, and we'll wrap it up when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
The holiday may be over, but the stars, stripes, and deals at Cardinal Chevy keep on going. Hot new Silverados, 0% financing or save up to $13,000. New Equinox, $4,700 off. New Traverse, over $4,500 off. Plus up to 125% of KBB value for your trades. New ownership, improved processes, better deals. We're taking the market by storm. Visit our gorgeous facility right off I-64 in Hurricane or at cardinalchevy.com. Together, let's drive. See dealer for complete details.
Here's another Kennett Communications Community Chatter. The third annual Dolly Dash, a 5K race for reading, is coming up on August 9th, starting at 9:25 a.m. at Ritter Park in Huntington. This supports the June Harless Center at Marshall University and Dolly Martin's Imagination Library in West Virginia. Go to tristateracer.com/Dolly-2025.
This Kennett Communications Community Chatter brought to you by Gomart. Go for good times. Go for Gomart.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love
my job.
Oak Tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Final segment for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, when's the new athletic director start? Well, if I'm a betting man, it's going to probably be mid-August because he's still on the job at Austin Peay until August 15th. That's his last day. So at this moment, Gerald Harrison is still the athletic director at Austin Peay. Final day is August 15th. So I'm going to presume if all goes well, maybe the first week of August 18th or I'm going to say maybe the first of that week, August 18th, maybe the week of the 25th, looking at the calendar right now. And so I'm going to say somewhere in that range, but last day at Austin Peay is August 15th. And so after that, I would say anywhere from the 18th before the 29th, I would think he would be taking the job at Marshall University, depending on what the transition looks like. Of course, Marshall's first football game against Georgia coming up on August 30th. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And we will be there tomorrow for the introductory press conference. Marshall will be introducing to the public Gerald Harrison, and then we will be back with you. And again, a quirk of the schedule here. We've got baseball action tomorrow. It's going to primarily knock us off. The show will be knocked off because we go on the air at 3:20 for baseball. So we're not going to get on tomorrow. There's just no way. If we do, it's going to be a few minutes. So follow my socials. I'll post some audio there tomorrow. Not the stuff that, I'll post that too, but not the stuff that you can stream. But some of the stuff that's going to be breakaway, stuff you can't normally get right away. We'll get that to you. Just follow my socials at Paul Swann on X. And if you're on other platforms, I've got a link there to where you can follow if you'd like to follow on Blue Sky, Threads, some other platforms. And, of course, we might podcast some of that audio as well. That might be the best bet for us, just to upload some of that stuff to our podcast. So that way you can get it when it's convenient to you. And if you haven't already, I would ask you, if you would, just subscribe to our podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts. Spotify's big for us as well. And if you use something else, if you would subscribe, it's going to be right there. It's free to subscribe. It comes to you right after the show is uploaded, and that really helps us out a lot. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, I always ask, could you do me a favor? 5 stars, write a nice review. Let me know what you think. and that does help a lot of people find the show. So that's the part of the show where I'm asking you for your help. And, of course, if you would follow me on social as well, starting at X at Paul Swann, that would really help out a lot. So back with you, probably not tomorrow, definitely on Thursday. And we've got the rest of the week, hopefully, to go into the new athletic director, talk about what he said. And we got a couple other things coming up this week as well. I'm hoping to get some more information soon about what's happening with the Shoey. We've got Fan Day coming up for Marshall football fans. They're going to do it next Wednesday. A week from tomorrow, they're going to do it on my birthday. So I'm expecting cake when I show up there next week. There better be cake. And I want like 10,000 fans singing happy birthday. Probably not. That's probably not going to happen. But, hey, they picked a really good day to do Fan Day next Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. I'll be back with you hopefully Thursday. Unfortunately, probably not tomorrow, but anytime you can find me on X at Paul Swann. Also, podcast again, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great night, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.